Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 4 of the Songwriters on Process podcast. My name is Benno Papari, and since 2010, I've run the Songwriters on Process website, which features more than 200 interviews with songwriters about their creative process. I am not a songwriter, but I have a PhD in English literature, and my goal is to treat songwriters the same way that we treat prose writers, as writers, plain and simple. And today I'm talking with Keb Mo, or as his family knows him, Kevin Moore. Keb Mo is a 5-time Grammy Award winner, and I don't know that I've talked to a more optimistic songwriter in a while, certainly at least in the past couple of years. I will quote him directly. He says, "As a songwriter, my job is to figure out how to draw some optimism out of any situation." And his job, as he says, is also to draw optimism from what he calls the big bubbling river of creativity. He sees cause for optimism anywhere, and even in his own home. One of the things that struck me here was he gets, I guess, inspiration from some of the most mundane household chores. No songwriter has ever told me that they get inspired by ironing and by folding clothes. Keb Mo is a first. It's not that he gets song ideas when he does that, but it puts him in a state of meditation that makes him an effective songwriter later on. I've heard vacuuming, chopping vegetables, gardening, cleaning, a lot of things, never ironing and never folding clothes. He likes to write between noon and 6 after he's been to the gym. I should say noon and 6 p.m. After he's been to the gym. He writes with a pencil and a legal pad. Not many people do that, but I love the old school technique there. Pretty simple process. He sits on his couch with a guitar, turns on Netflix, and plays around until he hears something that he likes. So for now, let's sit back and listen to my Songwriters on Process interview with Keb Mo.
Well, let's get at it.
Yeah, let's get at it. Do you think it's important to create in some fashion every day? Some songwriters tell me, don't force it, because if you do, things become derivative and kind of stale. Do you think it's important to create every day, or to, when it's not working, just to set it aside?
But what's important to me is living and paying attention to life, paying attention to what's important to me, and figuring out how to say it, and forming my own, I don't want to say opinion, but forming my own take on it. My what I think it might be. And it's not an opinion, because an opinion is pretty strong, I think, it's me in the case, maybe you might know something, but for me, it's just really like looking at myself, looking at life, looking at how I fit in it, and then trying to have a sense of humor about the whole thing at the same time.
So I think John Oates said he was walking through an airport in Denver one time, he told me, and he was at a restaurant and he heard these two women talking at the table next to him, and then they said something and that became the title of the song. And he talks about those songs. I think he said the songwriting antenna, some variation of that.
Yeah.
I mean, are you how conscious are you of your environment? I mean, again, are you actively looking? I think it's different to say, oh, let me see what's out there, or do you just kind of passively soak things in, or is there a difference, I guess?
I look at the big stories. I mean, like 20 through 2024, the Trump administration, I look at police brutality, I look at the COVID-19. I look at the big stories that everyone is looking at, because I think that's automatically, there's a lot of common ground there. Love is an easy story, because everyone is experiencing love or the lack thereof in some kind of way. But I'm looking for a way to connect to as many people as I can. My favorite song of my have you heard my new album?
A little bit of it, yeah. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, one of my great songwriting partners is John Lewis Parker. We've written probably about 30 songs together, over the year. I mean, over just from 1994 to now, and maybe actually 96 till now. And I don't have a big catalog of unpublished material. Everything I write, I feel like I'm going to hit the mark for me, you know. And I don't have someone standing over me going like, no, that's not. We need something more. We need, you know. I have no, because I'm not a big, you know, a cash cow for a big record company. You know, I have this freedom to express myself in a genuine way, you know. So if I think I hit the mark on it, I hit the mark. Now, maybe I didn't hit the mark in terms of, you know, songwriting immortality, you know, but I hit the mark for me and what I'd like to say.
What do you mean read the best? I mean, as far as when you're looking at the lyrics, I mean.
Yeah, well, when you look at the lyrics, there's the go back. I mean, when it gets down to like the actual songwriting, I'm pretty traditional in a sense. You know, you write the song and then you go back through it 2 or 3 times, you know, to figure out if you can maybe make a better point with a word tweak here or there, or a chord, or maybe there's something out of place, or, you know, and you kind of just put the shine on it.
Yeah. Do you revise a lot of your lyrics, or do you kind of think, are you the kind of person that says, you know, the first pass is going to be the best one because that's the most honest or the most authentic?
Mean the first pass, meaning the first.
Like when you write lyrics, yeah, when you write those lyrics, and do you revise a lot of lyrics, or do you go back, if you look at them and say, no, that's the way it was meant to be because that's the first thing that came out?
Sometimes I do. Sometimes it's like that. It just comes out the way it's supposed to come out. It's like spontaneous. It's a spontaneous moment, you know, and that happens. And sometimes, you know, I got to labor over it. But that's honest too, because the idea is honest. But what I'm looking for is the best way to express that idea. So to be the best example of it, on my new record, the last song called Quiet Moments, is a song that was written in the late 70s. You know, and it was pretty much like that in the late 70s. But then later on, my co-writer and I, David Oliver, we were talking about it, and we were both in our 20s. I mean, you know, we're like, you know, now we're senior citizens. So when I go back and look at the song, I had to take it out, and it never got tweaked.
Really?
You know? It was a good song, but the problem was I didn't record it. It never got tweaked. And we went back and tweaked it. Even the way I'd been singing it, I had to unlearn the way I was singing it. And it was very close to the way I sung it on the record. But there was a couple of notes here, like a step here off, or a little, you know, just a little adjustments to the melody that needed to be done. And also the way the music was looked at. I changed the key. It was in C. I changed it to G. And I actually made more of a guitar arrangement to it, you know, with not just, you know, plugging some chords. You know, and then I had to learn how to sing it, because it was a singing style that I am not really known for or probably accustomed to. So it required some skills that I did not have, but the song had been there the whole time. You know.
Where did you find it? I'm fascinated by that. Where did you? I mean, do you have all these? You said you don't have a lot of unpublished stuff, but is there a place where there's all those old ideas?
I have all my songs that are not, you know, that haven't been done in a place there. But when I go through them, I never hardly ever find anything.
Right. What made you decide? Why was this the right time to bring that song out now?
Well, periodically I played it for people and tried to record it. And also David, he's more of a Broadway kind of, you know, that kind of writer though, you know what I mean? And he had recently gotten married, so he really wanted to see the song get recorded. So he said, as a wedding present to me, would you record that song? And I said, oh, okay. So I committed to it, you know, I said, let's do it. So right then, he lives in LA, I'm in Nashville. I was in LA at the time. So we rented some studio time, and we went in and just messed with it for about 3 hours, you know? this guy with the guitar and me and tweaking the vocal. And from there, we got a tempo. We changed a few lyrics. I sung another vocal, of which I had to keep changing and keep messing with because it kept being wrong, because I don't really speak that language, you know, you know. So I had to go and really work on it, even though it's not a complex song to sing at all. But, you know, if you don't know the language, like Bruno Mars had this new album out with Anderson .Paak for a lot of stuff. And he does straight up out of the 70s. I mean, the whole thing is really 70s R&B funk, you know. But if I tried to, now I'm pretty versed in R&B funk like that thing, but if I tried to do it, you know, it would not work, because he's doing it speaking a different language. He's speaking the language of the 2000, you know, the 21st century, where I was still speaking the language of the 70s and 80s.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
It's like a time capsule.
Yeah. It's like not the same. The look sounds the same, not the same kind of things, but it's not the same.
So rather than make this like a COVID related question, what I found, I want to talk about, I guess, heavy emotional weight. And one of the things that when I was interviewing songwriters, you know, over the past year and a half, and there was this idea, I think, among a lot of critics or people who are not in the, you know, who are not musicians and artists, that say, oh, this is a great time to create because you're not touring, you know, you've got all this time, this downtime. But a lot of songwriters have told me that just practically the emotional weight of something makes it hard to write about, makes it hard to write. So I guess the question I have for you is, in any time, is it difficult to write under great emotional weight? Do you need to be close to that emotional weight, or do you need distance from it to be able to write about it more effectively?
So I came up with some songs that were really some of my best work. I think one song, it was John Parker, and he sent me a piano thing. I'm primarily kind of like, before this interview, I was thinking about, well, who am I? I was thinking, well, as a songwriter, what is my strong suit? And when I'm gonna go back and look at it, I'm a lyricist. You know, I know some chords on the guitar. I can like plot out some stuff and all that stuff like that. But primarily, it's the lyrics that I love. And the song "Marvelous to Me," you know, written right around the end of the George Floyd, not the end of it, but in it, you know, when angry Black Lives Matter, COVID and all everywhere, you know, Trump's and all, shit's just a mess, you know?
Yeah.
And so, you know, he sent me this piano, this thing, and I wrote these lyrics to it. And it was like, I think that was truly where I could be me. You know, when I said, like, you know, it's a cloudy day, no sunshine, it's cold, gloomy, and gray. Oh, I've had much better, but I've had my ups and downs along the way, you know. But when I look back, I just laugh. And all my troubles just melt into the sea. My vision is clear, you know, and the future looks marvelous to me, you know. So that's a song called "Marvelous to Me." And it's like, so this is my opportunity to not buy into the present turmoil that we have going on now. You know, that this too could possibly be the beginning of something beautiful that could be. So I choose always to see what is it, how can I draw some optimism out of it? And because I'm not emotional, I don't get painfully sad, and I'm really a neutral kind of, I have a monotone emotion all the time. Every time you see me, I'm pretty much always in the same mood. You know, people get all getting mad, and I just go like, okay, well, call me when you're not mad anymore.
So let me ask you about the ritual of your process. Is there, I always love reading interviews with, you know, novelists about that process, the time of day, the room, maybe the chair, the things they have to have with them. How important is that ritual? Just think about that actual ritual to your process. What is that ritual like for you?
I think for me, it all starts with the opening line. The first line of the song. If I get a good first line, I'm off and running. You know, um, one of my favorite first lines of a song is Robert Johnson's "Love in Vain." And the line is, "And I followed her to the station."
Yeah.
I love that line just drops you right. It just
right in the middle.
Takes you and drops you into the story. And whereas I thought about you turn on a movie and you're in the middle, and you kind of got to catch up with it, or maybe you're just like 5 minutes, 10 minutes into it, So
yeah.
So like that. For me, a pencil, a pad, not a pen, a pencil.
Why?
Pencil, because you can erase. You can go. Pencil's more. It's more agile.
Now, let me ask you this before you continue, because some songwriters will say the problem with the pencil is you may erase stuff that you wish you had kept later on, and pens at least allow you may cross something out, but it's going to still be there. So it doesn't make you nervous that you might be erasing something.
I think it could be later. I put a line through it.
Okay.
But it allows me to and that thing, the concept of losing something that you had, to me, I just go, it's just like creative is like a big bubbling river. It's just pouring out stuff all the time. You just have to plug into it.
Mm-hmm.
Think of all the songs that have been written. Billions, where do those come from? There's not some little thing where I missed that. But if you miss what's old folks used to say that, old folks used to always say, well, there's always another bus coming. Just get on the next bus. So I'm not uptight about losing something, or man, that could have been a hit. Wow. I don't care. It's more about what kind of mood am I in? How am I living? What is the reason? What is the reason? Why am I writing this song? What is the goal? And what words do I need to do it? And the dictionary of the English language is, the thing is if you got a dictionary, the thing is just full of words. We got these 12 notes, actually 11, and some bending in between, but the vocabulary of the English language is just vast.
Yeah.
It's almost like you never run. The rappers, they come up with the most brilliant rhymes and stuff like that. And nowadays, the way the young folks are taking rhymes and doing things and doing creative things with it. And I love all of that. So, no, I feel like I'm swimming in a pool of creativity.
So I want to get back to that. I love these conversations because I remember interviewing James McMurtry. This was a few years ago, and he said that it has to be a yellow legal pad, no other color. And
I
it's
like yellow. Yeah, I like the yellow.
It's a confidence thing, right? I write in that chair back there, but I revise in another chair. It may mean nothing, but to me, if it's happened there before, that's where the mojo was at one point. So why not go back there? So I'm curious, are there things is there a place or a time of day? For me, there certainly is, and I'll go back to those places, but it is how do you have things like that you feel make you more productive?
A guitar, the right guitar.
Yeah.
The right tone, because the tone or the way the guitar plays or where something can get in the way of your creativity, because you're messing with this thing, it's in your way.
Yeah.
Well, a nice guitar that makes a nice sound that I like, that's for me. It's usually an acoustic guitar, it's a certain one, but probably always an acoustic guitar. Pencil, a pad, it can be legal or just the regular white lined pad. But I like the rip off. I don't like the ones with the rings in it.
Mm-hmm.
But the legal pad. Don Henley has a legal pad for every song.
Oh, really?
Every song has its own legal pad.
Yeah.
So
is there a chair? Is there a time of day? I'm a morning person. I can't write at night, but is there a time of day or something like that where you are more productive?
I like to start my day at noon. Every day, my creative day is from noon to about 6. You know, that's the sweet part of my day. Like, I like to have any interviews, anything I have like before noon, because I get up in the morning, I get my breakfast. My breakfast is a big ritual, huge ritual breakfast. And then my chores, my things, clean up after breakfast. My wife and I, we're getting our kid off to school. And I go to the gym almost every day, and that's a big part of the ritual too. And that's usually, it depends on the slotting, is 8 or 9 in the morning. I like the 8 o'clock slot better, but sometimes I have to settle for the 9. And then to come about noon, I've gotten all that stuff out the way. Then at noon, I can sit and I start working on something. Either it's recording or writing, whatever it is. I like it to happen between 12 and 5. And then there gets the point of the day where I've lost my effectiveness. I feel like I'm not as effective as I could be. Then I just stop and rest, and I just go do stupid stuff. I just go hang with the family, and I'll watch stupid TV, or just sit there channel surfing, looking for something. Between the network TV, there's nothing on. You just, but you keep looking.
Right.
So then I'll turn on maybe I'll turn on a Netflix show, something I'm looking at, and I'll grab my electric guitar and I'll start playing scales and just making sure my hands are, keeping my hands in shape there while I'm doing that. But the most productive part of the day, when I don't feel productive, I just go to sleep. And lately I've been just a lot of sleep. So now I know that is not the schedule of highly, highly productive and highly successful people, but it's my schedule. It's a schedule that makes me happy.
Can you write for long stretches? And I'm good for about maybe an hour before I've got to take like a 5 or 10 minute break just to get up and walk around. Can you sit for long stretches?
It depends on how interested I am in the song. I can sit a long time, and sometimes I'll just take a break because it's healthy to take a break, not because I need one.
Yeah.
But it's really healthy. I think it's really good. Even playing a session here, we're working on some tracks or something, doing something. I'll just say, let's take 5 minutes. Let's just, we're gonna go get snacks, and we'll have coffee, go coffee tea, just and then come back. And I got that. Somebody told, I kind of took that notion from, I did it out with Russ Titleman. You know who Russ Titleman is? Producer.
Yes.
Yeah. I did an album with him, and he said, well, I just like to keep gentlemen's hours, It says, we get going, we start at 12, we have a nice lunch. It's about 6 o'clock, everybody's pretty much done. It's those late night studio hours where you're burning the midnight oil.
Right.
And I tend to agree with him, because when I go home, and when I spend those days parts working, I got more to give the next day. For me, I got more to give. And when I'm I was looking at it. Oh, I remember the time lean times early in my life. Actually, the first 40 years of my life was all lean times. So sometimes I'd have a day job. I have to get another job to pay the rent and pay something. And oftentimes, it was hard to keep your dream alive, because that job would take all your good energy that you had. By the time you got home from work, you really had no energy to create, because the job had taken it from you. So, so that's why I always got shit jobs. I never wanted to get a good job that people that I was going to start ascending and start getting promotions and stuff. Because I knew that'd be the kiss of death for me if I got one of those.
Right.
I get that paycheck, man, and benefits. So I'd be like, it'd be over for me.
That's funny. So is there, back to the ritual, just out of curiosity, is there a room? Like I said, I know there's like 2 rooms in the house I tend to be most productive.
Oh, there's another thing. You're kind of prying in there and getting that from me. Also, one of my favorite places to write at is on a sofa with my guitar and a coffee table.
Why?
Like right here, like right.
There you go. Right. Yeah.
Right here. Like, I got a guitar, coffee table. I pull it up close like that, and this pencil right there.
Bingo.
And that's how that's my favorite thing. Now, I don't have to have that, but if I'm by myself, that. And there's another time I like to write too, is when I can't sleep at night. You know, like I wrote Medicine Man. There's reason why I just started, like, you know, like we're always waiting on the Medicine Man. That was in the middle of the night, you know, wrote it, got up in the morning, it was on, you know, it just came out, and it's, you know.
There was actually an article that I just saw a couple of days ago in Smithsonian Magazine that scientists there's a term they have for it in that space of consciousness just before sleep. Like when you're just, there's a name they have for it, when you're just before sleep, you're lying in bed, and how that's apparently an incredible time for creativity because of the conscious. I don't know. I wish I knew the name of it, but it just came out a couple of days ago. And for some reason, and they don't know why, but there's a part of their brain that gets just really that's in the sweet spot for creativity in that moment. So does that ever happen for you?
Right. And also too, that's true, because I've had several moments like that in my life where I just got up in the middle of the night and wrote something prolific. I remember many years ago, when I was in my 20s, I was about probably 20, about around the time I wrote Crying Moments. There was we all got together, a publisher called Four Writers, which I was one of them. And we said, we need a theme song for this show that's about to come out, you know. And I picked the one that I was going to go write for. You know, it was called Joe and Valerie. It was a take on Saturday Night Fever. And so I woke up, I went to bed, didn't think about it, and I woke up in the middle of the night, and I wrote the whole thing, recorded it on a cassette, and went back to bed, played it in the morning. That became the thing.
So you had that in the dream? Was the song happening in your dream and you woke up?
I literally got up, got my guitar, wrote it, wrote it down, put it on a cassette, and went back to bed.
Wow. And
it was just like really just, it was just our love goes deeper, deeper. Our love goes deeper, deeper, deeper. It kind of went like, and it was just really, like I said, that's it. Bam. Now the show was only on for 4 episodes.
Yeah, I didn't say I never heard of it, but
it got canned after 4 episodes. I made $500. I mean, that was the first, like one of the first, like, here's your down payment for your theme, $2,500.
Right. Okay, 2 more questions. One is, I find a lot of songwriters or writers telling me about how many ideas they get when they're doing mundane activities, whether it's gardening. I just interviewed Yola last week, and she told me vacuuming is a great source of creativity. So gardening, it can be, like I said, vacuuming, cleaning, something mundane, or walking, the idea of motion, that so many song ideas come to them when they're doing something mundane. So how often does that happen for you?
Well, for me, I didn't connect it like they connected it, But for me, the simple mundane things that I love to do is washing dishes, folding laundry is a big thing I love. Like, I just love folding the fresh laundry, and the clothes are all warm and everything, and they just came out, and you got to put them in little piles and organize them. Organizing my closet. I love ironing but I don't connect them to the creative process. I connect them to it like it's more like a meditation. Because I find if I haven't meditated, if I haven't got some quiet time for a few days, after about 3 days, I notice I'm a little jittery, you know? Then I go like, oh, I haven't done any meditation. And that's just the recentering where you go focus on the breath and you reset everything. And washing dishes, something that you have to think about, or walking is a meditation. So to me, they're all the same thing.
Yeah. But you don't get ideas out here driving. You don't like any kind of movement isn't a big source of inspiration in itself when song ideas come to you.
I feel like I can pull one out at any given time.
Okay. I get that sense. I get that sense talking to you
if I'm living right, you know, and paying attention, you know, and really keep my mind open to that connection of the big creative, wherever it's coming from, you know, just remain open. And at any given time, something will come.
So last question. Ernest Hemingway once said that writers should go to art galleries to get inspired. And I'm curious how often you get inspired by other types of artistic, whether it's, you know, visual art or reading or anything like that. Do those things ever inspire you in the songs to write a song?
No, they inspire me in life though, like reading books, like movies, reading books, and things like that. But it's not like a direct connection. They're more about the things that move me creatively. One of my favorite books was sparked a lot of creativity. Was Atlas Shrugged, and then and this other book called The Last Hours of Ancient Sunlight by Thomas Hartman. And it's a book. It's like it has to do with it's a doom and gloom book. It's about humanity and about how, you know, kind of pollution, global warming, the oil crisis. Ancient Sunlight is basically oil, you know, really breaks it down, you know, and any number of metaphysical books that I've written by people like Gary Zukav and Deepak Chopra and all these, you know, people that are in the metaphysical business of consciousness. So, and the world of abundance in a sense.
Do you do a lot of reading in general? Do you think I do find that songwriters are generally pretty voracious readers.
Yeah, I like reading. Like a movie, I will listen to an album over and over. I listen to James Taylor albums over and over, especially like October Road. You know, it's one of my favorite albums. And I'll listen to Terrence Blanchard's, you know, A Case of God's Will, you know, like the one he wrote about Katrina. I mean, the album.
Yeah.
I listen and I constantly read Eckhart Tolle's A New Earth. I constantly, it's like my Bible almost.
Interesting.
I look at it because what it does is the way he looks at things. I don't read the Bible not because I think it's crazy, but it's too complicated. It's too much double talk. It's too much just like, and so said this and therefore, like, it's like, fuck all that shit. I want to get down and dirty to the consciousness of what can I really understand without having the preacher interpret this book that was written like 2,000 years ago, you know? Whereas I think Eckhart Tolle is a very wise guy. And he speaks in terms of concepts that for me, whatever I'm going through, reading his book, it's like a meditation. It just puts me back. It's like a spiritual chiropractic thing that just snaps you right back in order as to what are the priorities in life, you know? Mm-hmm. So that's why I read that one a lot, you know? So, and I read so many, and I don't want to read about English literature and so-and-so and whatever, I don't know, all these masters. I just love the metaphysical, about the infinite possibility of what's great about life.
And that's it for today's Songwriters on Process podcast with Keb Mo. As a reminder, you can find all of my interviews with over 200 songwriters on my Songwriters on Process website, going all the way back to 2010. That website is songwritersonprocess.com. It's all free and there are no ads. You can read them, watch them, or listen to them. So next time, see you later.